Greetings everyone, this is the Captain speaking, and thank you for joining me on Let's Play Dagon. Dagon, daggone it. You guys can make fun of me for pronouncing that if I'm getting it wrong all you want in the comments. I don't care. This is a free-to-play game on Steam. I can put the links in the description. Almost said description, whatever that meant. This is a game, all I know is it's inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, and that's all I know, so let's just get right in there. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft. Here it is, it tells you. You'll not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here. The movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Oops. Any kind of interactive elements, continue turning others over interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign. Ooh. Okay, so right click. You can also access all the found facts later. It'll be available not on the main menu. Focus. Hey. As to letters, my case is peculiar. I write such things exactly, as easily, and as rapidly as I would utter the same topics in conversation. Indeed, epistolary expression is with me largely replacing conversation. As my condition of nervous prostration becomes more and more acute, I cannot bear to talk much now, and am becoming as silent as the spectator himself. My loquacity extends itself on paper. H.P. Lovecraft to Reinhard Kleiner. Kleiner. December 23rd, 1917. Nerd. Throughout his life, Lovecraft penned about, holy crap, that's a lot of letters. His friends and fans, out of which about 10% survived by sending endless correspondence. Okay, so he was a nerd. Any letter writing, thinking, anybody represent so much fun. Okay. Skip meals to afford postage. Collections of his card. Well, big old nerd.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below. Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a clinging degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Yeah, dude, I understand forgetfulness or death. Yeah.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Yeah. I'm not moving around. One more.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
This atmosphere is pretty nice. It's beautiful. Ooh, what's over there? Oh, is that the sun? Hello? Over here. Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Well, that's very considerate. Yeah. Okay, well, far enough. I did not see the sign. Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. Neat. Well, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans. They look the same, of course, in order to emphasize their brutality, however, and because they look the same. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II, I don't know what that was supposed to be, I'm sorry, gave a speech to his troops on the 27th of July, 1900, before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Not even a quarter? Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under their king Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German like this. Their refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the first Hague Convention of 1899. I'm gonna go with Hague. That's probably right. It's more like a point and click than anything.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Well, that's good. Sorry, guys. Is there anything else? Is my senses? Do I smell any signs? What's that?
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Of the ocean. Your surroundings is the ocean. No signs.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe warm.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Okay. Okay. You want me to do something here? Am I supposed to do something here? Can't click on anything. Oh. The sun, right, or the moon. I'm supposed to click on whatever
The weather
that
kept
is.
fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Neat. Sorry guys, I don't know what's up. No sign.
But neither
Whoa.
ship nor land
Don't stare
appeared,
at the sun.
and I began to despair in my solitude
You're gonna
upon
go
the
blind.
heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
Hello, yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo.
The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Neat. Oh, okay. Yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo!
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire,
Ugh.
which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see,
Oh.
and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Yoo-hoo! Can I just get... Can I go on my boat, please? I think I made a wrong turn. I will get on my boat now and leave you, good sir. Yoo-hoo, thank you.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
As everyone else would be. There's no one here that'd be like, I'm not terrified at all. This is interesting. Especially that guy over there. And that one way back there. Not scary.
For there was in the air, and in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
Neat.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish.
Ew.
And of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
I was more terrified of this than actually intrigued. Please forgive me.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Yuck. Yoo-hoo! Oh. I'll give you some privacy. Not looking. Oh, sorry.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Yoo-hoo. Yep. That's exactly what happened. As an expert on these things, that's what I can tell you. That right there, that's the cause. Ew.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
Nope. Can't hear anything.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
No. Any signs? Just a fish.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
Hold on a minute, you want to run that by me again? Yoo-hoo! I'm not sure I like that at all. What do you want me to do?
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
What do I click? I don't see what I click, and the game is just like, just click. You just gotta click something. I'm like, I don't know what to click. What do you want me to click? And it's like, just please click the mouse.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Can we just get away from this guy, please? He's gonna, like, eat us.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
I would not care if I smelled dead fish if I didn't have to see these things. I keep wanting to like press W to go forward. You're just gonna step right on that thing.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Yoo-hoo! Now that's big. Okay. Oh. Yoo-hoo! I love how we're just stepping on
That night, I
everything.
encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
First espied it. I'm finding a lot of eldritch signs. We're gonna walk all over the tentacle. That's fine.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
I don't know about that.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief
Seems
from
regular
the general
height.
surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
Okay.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen
because you're in a
far
weird
above
place?
the eastern plain, I was awake
Maybe.
in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
You sweat?
Such
you sleep,
visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy. Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset.
Okay.
Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Cool, cool. Hey. Lovecraft was not an ever-frowning, eccentric, grumpy loner. He considered himself to be a person who appreciated humor. Moreover, he would often meet with his friends in his apartments or at various cafes in Brooklyn and Manhattan. At times, the social life was so intensive his work would suffer for months. Awesome. Work hard, play hard, I always say. There was a point when he finally decided he needed to put an end to daily meetings and loitering in New York cafeterias and resorted to hiding at home. When you see your friends too much, you just gotta hide at home, you know? Reading with the main room light turned off. That's easy to do. Pretending he wasn't there whenever a friend knocked on his door. He also had another method of deterring his guests. Greeting them in a bathroom. An unmade bed visible in the background and piles of paper scattered across the floor. Just say you don't want to, like, hey, not today, man. Just no. You don't have to, like, greet them naked in a bathrobe, like, oh, you want to come in? You want to help me dress or something? Like, oh, just come on in. These dudes, come on, man.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
Not looking down, though. I'm actually looking up.
I felt myself on the edge of the world,
Or at least straightforward. I can't look down into it.
peering over the rim into
Okay.
a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Yoo-hoo.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost,
Okay.
and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
No eldritch sign.
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Okay. Moon, can you help me out here?
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly
closer.
easy footholds for a descent.
I don't know if I want to go down there, though.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Declivity? Nerd.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath.
I don't know why we ever came down
Gazing
here.
into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Okay. Yeah, let's get going.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
Yep, that's a stone.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
What are you talking about? Just in my backyard I have a stone that looks like that. I don't know.
A closer scrutiny
Pretty
filled
naturey
me
to
with
me.
sensations I cannot express.
Okay. No sign.
For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young,
I mean, you don't know that.
I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith,
Could be.
whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship
whoa.
of
That's-
living and thinking creatures.
Let's get to know it before we start talking about its bulk. Okay?
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Why? Why are you just like, this is pretty chill. Ugh.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering
Yep,
steeps
the zenith
hemmed
is
in the chasm.
right over there. Almost.
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
It seems to end right there. See?
Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith,
The what?
on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Mm-hmm. I'm always looking for signs.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Those are seashells.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as
Aquatic.
fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Yep, that's and the like.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world,
Like that shark.
but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Telling the story through carvings, demands madness, journals and character notes, line journeys from the ocean, fictional beings and deities based on real events, mythologies, blah blah. Popular Cthulhu mythos. Supposed to be clear in the manner somewhere. Let's get the details on. Let's spoil the ending.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a Doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men, though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
Yeah.
Or paying homage at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint.
Yeah, same.
Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
Yeah.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall.
Alright.
Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Yeah, can confirm.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
Could be.
Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Be my guess.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me.
Yeah.
Then, suddenly, I saw it. With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters. It darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith.
Yoo-hoo!
About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Yes. Nothing?
I think I went mad then.
Oh, I think so.
Of my frantic ascent of the sloping cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little. I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Well, when you're trying to sneak and run away from something, singing is the best method to do so.
I have indistinct recollections of a brainstorm sometime after I reached the boat.
That happens.
At any rate, I thought I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
That time of the month for Mother Nature.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
Oh, that guy was just returning me to my home plane of existence, world of existence. Thank you, my dude.
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
Achievement unlocked. Delirious, but free, I think that's it.
In my delirium, I had said much,
Delirious.
but found that my words had been given scant attention.
Any signs? Nope.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing.
You think they would? Bottom of the ocean coming up would probably make some headlines.
Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Okay. Hey, a smell the sun. Prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. Ha, amateur. The Conservative, which include political and social commentary, poetry, short stories, and literary, not literal, criticism, written by him and other authors. Howard was a wordsmith, but he also took criticism to heart, stepping away from writing poetry. Dagon was published in 1819. Explains his attitude towards warfare. Why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace is more than the conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations would undoubtedly retain secret armaments and at the proper time take advantage of their more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in a wild career of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is, or ever can be, above warfare, till the basic impulses of the human animal shall have miraculously changed. So true, my dude. Excuse me? Am I just leaving?
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon.
Dagon.
The fish
Knew
god.
it. Oh. Okay. Philistines worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for green. Ruler of Akkad. This was preached during the scene of their conquest. Yep. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Syrian poem and a mental prison order. Hebrew fish god. That's the Hebrew for dag. It's fish. Underwater deity ruling over the deep ones. Wide waves with fish streets reside in the oceans. It's a terrible order of Dagon. Okay. Is that it? Right, I was supposed to see that.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Oh, there you go. August Derleth, who's an American writer and anthologist. A friend of Lovecraft. Yep. Work after his death, he was surrounded by numerous controversies of introducing the good versus evil doctrine to the Cthulhu mythos. World and his parts of cosmic horror. Lovecraft was never really interested in creating mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Nice. I smelled another one. Find a job was influenced by advice you received. Yeah, you gotta make money, my dude. From an ad. I don't know. If you guys want to read it, you can pause the video and read it. Subject of wide debate after the author using the story critic find out that man of science, more perfect term to employ, he admitted that if Dagon, excuse me guys, I don't know what's up with me. Scientist was coined as an analog to artist. Oh, hi lady. Sorry guys, one of my dogs just came in. Yeah, there you go.
especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
Yeah.
I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
And signs. Hey, sign. Sign. No, so let me get that. He hated tobacco, even though he used to smoke. When he was 12. Oh. We're looking to feel like an adult. Okay. Quit as soon as he started wearing. What? He quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. Makes sense. Oh, hi, Pixie. Another one of my dogs just poked in. Sorry. Come, you can see all that.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man-of-war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Yoo-hoo. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. We're flying now.
The end is near. I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Ew. Any more signs or anything?
It shall not find me.
I think it has. I think it has.
God, that hand!
Quick, get your bathrobe.
The window! The window!
Quick. Ah! The achievement, I did not see what it said. Oh cool, a couple DLCs. Alright, that was Dagon. I liked it. It was, you know, less of, I guess, a typical game you play and more of a, you know, kind of story. But nevertheless, I think it was pretty cool. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I'll put the link to this game in the description below. It is free on Steam, so any of you guys can play it. I don't know about any of the DLCs or anything about that, but go check it out. It was really cool. With that being said, I will hopefully see you guys and joining me in my next video. See ya.